yet another edition of Time Pass for the New Indian Express. I have with me the lovely, very bright, and always so thoughtful and so kind YAMI Gautam. Thank you so much. The star of a slew of films from Vicky Donor to the absolutely delightful Bala, where she was really the shining star for me. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you, Yami? Are you back to work now?
Thank you, Kaveri. Thank you. Thank you, Kaveri, for always being so warm and kind and generous with your words. I really appreciate it. Thank you. No, I'm actually here in Chandigarh. I'm still not back in Mumbai. In fact, yes, I think ours was the last face-to-face conversation I think that both of us had.
Yes.
And little did we know at that time it's going to be for quite a while. I think the last one.
Right.
But I'm still here in Chandigarh.
I remember you were telling me that, somebody is offered the use of the gym, but, you think the yoga is much better. You'll do it at home. Yeah. And I think you just moved into a new apartment and you're still finding your way. So how did the lockdown treat you, Yami?
I think it was pretty much a roller coaster ride like it's been for everyone. But comparatively for me, I think I maintained calm. I was pretty patient and I maintained my balance. I think a mental balance. Considering I was away from home, considering I was away from family, it was just me and my house alone. So I made it a point that, okay, first of all, it took time to understand what is Corona, what is COVID-19, and we didn't know that till, what is the dot line, when is it that's all going to end, and we all thought, okay, maybe, another month, and but I made a point that I am going to start my day early. I had made a little routine for myself where I'd kept anything to do with television or films, that consumption to be like bare minimum. I thought, okay, whether I know something or I don't know, but some activity I'm going to engage my mind in, because otherwise it gets it gets on to you. Then you start thinking, then your mind starts running, oh my God, I'm here at home on my own and I don't know what to do. So I used to practice yoga on my own, and and consciously I didn't join any online classes. I thought, okay, this is the time maybe just to reboot my entire system and reconnect, probably with yourself again and see what works for me. So I used to practice yoga. I used to cook for me and my health. I used to make oil. I used to make my own body wash. I used to sketch. I used to paint. However horrible it was, but I used to do something.
Right.
And yeah. That's all.
And that was very important, Yami, because you're quite a family person and you're quite attached to your family. Although you've been now in Mumbai for over a decade and you've done very well for yourself as well, but you are very connected to your roots. And for you to have got through this time on your own must have been quite an accomplishment.
It was, and thanks to video calls. I have a habit of calling my mom 2-3 times a day, but this time it was more of a video call. I mean, suddenly, those audio calls will just replace our video calls, and I wanted to see what are they doing. I wanted to see what are they cooking. I wanted to see. I should never say this to them, but I knew deep down how much they're missing me, and I knew how much I'm missing them. No matter, especially in times like these, it's just your family. You just want to be with them. You just want to be in the comfort of, physically having your family around. And I just couldn't wait to get back home, but I had work to finish. So I told my producers, I said, don't, for Guinea with Sunny, I said, don't worry, I will not leave. I promise you, until I finish my work. And so I finished that, and then that's when I headed back.
So did you have shooting left, Yami, or did you have dubbing left?
I had dubbing left. I had entire film ka dubbing left, and it was only me who was left, just me and Nasi ji, Vikrant. So it was just it was just dubbing, but dubbing is such an important part of your performance. Right. I mean, you can even enhance your performance. You can even make it better if you can while dubbing. But I will never forget that experience. It was so much full of anxiety and uh, tension, that did I touch something which I wasn't supposed to. Yeah, it is sanitized. I'm wearing gloves, I'm wearing masks. You have to be so conscious all the time. Somebody has
Right.
to come, from technical team and fix the mic in the position and everything. Then you step out. And dubbing happened when it was almost like escalating to another level in Mumbai, where like almost you wouldn't see many people stepping out.
Right.
uh, and but I said, okay, we'll manage it somehow, we'll figure it out. Because
Right.
I remember after 3 days of dubbing, I felt sick.
Right.
I had mild fever in the middle of night. I woke up out of breathlessness
God.
and mild fever and some soreness in the throat. And I was like, okay, I
You
think
got
that
it.
is but mothers, how they are, she had told me that you're not stepping out for dub until unless you have a kadha, which I don't know how my thanks to my driver, he found just some last that kadha just was left, and for some reason that worked for me, and that took a breather for 3 days. I said, okay, let's not do it back to back, because I mean this is a problem which even today, even right now, people are still, everybody has different theories with pertaining to corona. And that time too, we were still figuring out, we're just taking guesses at, okay,
Yeah.
this could be the symptom, that could be the
Right.
symptom. So, or are you asymptomatic? So I think, or maybe it's just that anxiety is what gives you that breathlessness, and that even though how much ever you take precautions and tell yourself, it's okay, it's all under control, bare minimum crew, but there's so much with a stressful mind. It is so
Yeah.
difficult to work, and it's
Right.
such an important job.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's an experience I think I remember.
And yet, Yummy, the mood of Ginny with Sunny, whatever I've seen from the trailer, uh, is so light and so frothy and fun. For you, that transformation must have been really difficult.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's with this whole pandemic, I think it's for everyone. I mean, everybody is going to take time. Like even I shot something here in Chandigarh. We had some brand shoots and everything, but it obviously it wasn't the same. It's
Yeah.
it's it's there is some stress. You are working subconsciously with that stress in your mind, and it's not easy. It is really not easy. And you dubbing for scenes which are happy go lucky, or
Yeah.
which require you to be in an absolutely different mood. It requires some kind of really like a strong sense of this, like switching off and really shutting your mind, and really calming your senses, that it's okay, it's fine, we'll see, let's just take one step at a time. And so for me, the key was to wrap up dubbing ASAP. I thought, okay, as much as I can knock off in one day without obviously compromising the creative aspect. That's the key. So even if I have to stand on my feet for like 6 hours at a stretch, or 5 hours at a stretch, I was ready. Although, I mean, you have to also take care, be mindful of the fact that the quality of voice gets affected
Yeah.
after 3 hours. But I have dubbed for like 3-4 hours for sure, to knock off as much
Right.
work as I could. So even they don't have to step out, my
Yeah.
director and the technical crew, that much, and we could finish our work.
Also, Yami, the things that you had planned pre-COVID, the movies, the work, how much of that has changed? Because the world is now totally different and the mood is different. I don't know whether what you chosen before you think would still work. Do you have those thoughts? Are you thinking that?
You know, you're right, Kaveri. There's so much which has changed. I mean, the whole dynamics economically, uh, demographically, everything has changed, even from the
Yeah,
industry perspective, so much.
exactly.
Uh, Mumbai is definitely not currently the place, even though obviously, you have a unlock phase 5, but still there is so much, it's still there, right? It still hasn't gone, the problem.
And
So,
we are told that the peak has still not arrived. So
it's still not arrived.
yeah,
And the winters are actually here, as
absolutely.
so they're already here now. It's almost been a year.
Yeah.
almost is going to be.
Yeah.
So a lot has changed. I think the way, especially the streaming platforms during the pandemic,
Yeah.
came literally as, a savior, not just from entertainment perspective for the audience, but also for producers or for actors. That I think that was huge. That's a huge game changer. And I think not just from pandemic, but from here onwards, to consider, how maybe 2 years back, you still give it a thought that, okay, is it okay to sign a digital film or a web series, which, that's a sentiment which would echo widely, in the film fraternity. But now, with few exceptions, of course, but now it's something which is considered as much in priority as a theatrical release. Of
Absolutely.
course, theaters will always have their charm. I mean, who wouldn't want, to just to experience? It's an experience,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's open and absolutely a parallel platform and a medium and an avenue which is not going away anywhere, regardless of pandemic. Now,
Right.
I myself, I have a theatrical release. Also, I've announced with Boot Police, but I also have a Thursday which is a digital release.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely going to dabble between both the
Yeah.
territories, and of course the shoot's been pushed. It's not an easy time, especially from a producer's perspective, because you don't know whether an actor wants to shoot right now, whether the crew's comfortable, who all they'll have to probably replace from the technical team. Shooting with XY, so much precautions right now, it also comes with the cost.
Exactly.
Is that something which a producer can afford? Or are we, in terms of structure, in terms of production structure, or the kind of conditioning we have, here we tend to, after 2-3 days, we tend to normalize things. Yeah, मतलब, ठीक है, चलता है, that's
Yeah.
okay, हाँ, कुछ नहीं है. So, probably feeding off each other from each other's plate and eating food. So you know how it is here. So
Yeah.
it is so difficult to inculcate that discipline and that conditioning, to work with that mindset constantly.
Yeah.
It will require some discipline for sure. So are we ready? Are we equipped
Right.
to take care of, and own such a big responsibility? So it's going to be, we're going to see. I mean, it's something which no one can predict. I myself have to start shooting from November, and
Okay.
as much as we are meant, earlier, obviously, you're preparing for your role and all those things are there, but now you have to gear up, keeping corona in mind and thinking
Yeah.
of your own safety and
Absolutely.
others.
In a
So
way, and in a way, the actors are in the front line. I mean, when they're in a scene, they can't go around wearing masks and
absolutely,
PPE.
absolutely, it's completely understandable if some actors, they don't want to shoot unless
Yeah.
we get a vaccine, because you others can be still without, with the mask and other precautionary tools, but an actor is without anything and without such things. And when you are performing or when you're preparing, you don't want to be bothered by any such thing. But this is so big, this is so huge, it's almost, it's about your life and your safety. It definitely can't be ignored as well. So that's a huge question mark.
Right. So, can you talk about what you're going to be shooting in November? Is it a film or a streaming thing? And is it a leftover or is it a fresh shoot?
No, it's a fresh shoot, and which we announced during pandemic, and it's called Bhoot Police.
Okay.
It's being produced by Mr. Turani and Akshay Puri, and directed by Pavan Kriplani.
Right.
And it has Saif, Arjun, Jacqueline, and myself. So
Okay.
it's a horror comedy,
Okay. So it's
and
a big
it's quite fun. It's going to be quite fun, and we hope to make it fun, keeping, of course, all these things in
yeah.
mind. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's quite
And
fun.
are you shooting in the south or in the north or where?
We'll
Where?
be shooting in Himachal, so very
Okay.
very close to where I belong.
Yeah.
Um,
So for you, it's home.
it is home. So we'll be shooting in Palampur, Dharamshala, and Dalhousie. So that is something which, it's almost like, how a child is when a child gets stressed or is whatever, is troubling in, and just one little candy makes him so happy. So Himachal is that candy for me
Yeah.
amidst all this.
It's very
Uh,
interesting. A lot of the Mumbai movies are being shot in Himachal currently, I
yes,
think, because the
yes,
infection rate is low, and I hope it
it's lower.
remains that way.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And also, I presume that it has enough facilities for bigger productions.
It,
Is it geared up for it? Is Himachal geared up for it?
I think so. I think it is. I think for really long, the Himachal government and tourism, they have been trying to, yeah, you know, set sort of a precedent or promote Himachal tourism or welcome film
Right,
shoots and everything to make things, and obviously it's easier when in terms of permissions and other
right.
combinations and possibilities. There's a bit of a breather, there's a bit of it's not that tight, the formalities and all those
So
things.
that's
So
good.
for sure, I think
Yeah.
Himachal government is equipped and is very much is going to welcome this
And more of these
this
shows.
new era,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
that we're
Great.
entering.
So, Yami, how has your worldview changed in these 6 months? Not just for yourself, of course, but also for the world at large. How have you seen that evolving? And what do you think of the world around you, especially the industry?
I think firstly, from a generic perspective, I feel this pandemic taught us that we literally need three things.
Hmm.
The film was also made, roti, kapra, or makan.
Yeah,
Makan means, I mean, it's your family
right.
also, obviously.
Yeah,
It's literally food, shelter, and clothes.
kapra.
That's
Yeah,
about it. That's about it. Rest is all extra. The rest is all, I mean, what you make of it. So that and the feeling that uh, that in times like these, it's only compassion and it's only we have for each other.
yeah,
I think that's something which largely I would like to take as a takeaway. I know a lot happened. There was so much negativity around. There was so much happening, and in the middle of a pandemic, and so many things. But somewhere deep down, I think the whole idea, maybe I know, I mean, it caused so much loss. I don't think anybody will have a different perspective that okay, this is one good thing about pandemic, maybe in terms of pollution, maybe.
yeah.
But I think it was kind of a wake up call for us. I think it was kind of a I don't know if we've taken it seriously. I still don't know. But from my end, from my perspective, I thought this was kind of a wake up call for people, be it in terms of kind of reuniting with families, kind of uh, uh, inculcating and stressing upon the fact that how important relationships are, families are, being with your loved ones are, or being hygienic,
Yeah,
being clean.
yeah,
It's the most basic thing actually should be for humans and for mankind. But this is something which it's taught to literally, like in your pre nurseries and nurseries, these
yeah.
little habits. But we kind of, it was a revision for the entire world, that I think this can be you can combat this, or you can fight it by staying hygienic and clean. So I think maybe it was kind of a wake up call to go back to your basics, to go back to where we come from, in terms of health, in terms of values, in terms of emotions, in terms of families, in terms of um uh, being selfless, and think as a community. That's what I feel.
But Yummy, at the same time, there was such a big debate about outsiders versus insiders. You've been an outsider, but you've been a tremendous success. It's come with struggles, no doubt, and you've had your share and you've overcome them, and you've also become more emotionally resilient as you've gone along. You've not let it get you down. If it's got you down, you've got up again and sort of, got back to work. But when you look at that debate, how do you feel? Do you feel that you get branded as an outsider all your life just because you didn't come from Mumbai or come from a particular family? Or does success make you an insider?
I don't think it really matters to me right now, Kaveri, honestly. It doesn't matter if somebody calls me an outsider. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter today if somebody says you're still not an insider or
Hmm.
you're still not a part of, a certain um, group or a certain part of the industry. I'm okay with it. I think this industry, everybody can make space for themselves. It's finally the audience. It's finally, it takes, a handful of thankfully in my case I've had some certain directors and producers who backed me, who valued my talent and my potential and given me an opportunity, and that is what's going to work eventually in your favor. It's all right if I lose out on two films, but that's all right. That one film which I've got on my own merit, and I'm okay with it.
Right.
Now that the thing is that this debate is not, it's much more deep rooted than probably what we talk about. It's not just those merely 2 3 points. There's so many things. First of all, I honestly feel that if somebody's from the fraternity and somebody wants to launch somebody, they have all the right to do that, right? It's fine. I mean, that's all right.
Right.
What is not fair is to elevate someone. You take away somebody's opportunities
Yeah.
to favor somebody else. I have lost out roles, not just to star kids, but also to somebody who was not from the industry and yet for some reason was favored or had some reference. So what do you say about that?
Right.
So for me, it's not just about nepotism. For me, first it's about favoritism. Nepotism could be a part of it, but
Right.
favoritism is something which is, and it is, for me, it's a bigger picture because I have lost out roles for reasons which are like really funny.
Like
And when
what?
I would ask that, okay, well,
Like what, Yami? I mean, you would be cast and then you would be told what?
no, I mean, forget being cast and dropped later. But even when you feel that this is something which you could be considered, or and you see that part going to somebody else. One of the things which just come into my mind was I was told, you're too pretty. She's too
Okay.
pretty.
Okay.
So इतनी भी सुंदर नहीं हूँ मैं. अब करीना but anyways, like it's okay. I mean, you can't. I stopped taking these things too seriously. You can't absorb everything in your system, especially nothing which can affect you in a negative way. Then I
Right.
can't work. Then I can't focus on my work, and that's been my strength. And so for me, it should be made a fair game. I mean, I don't know what it'll take to make it happen. And if someone, for example, yesterday somebody asked me that, are you also told that, should you have to attend certain parties or
Yeah.
be seen, at certain places, for sure, only then you're considered as you are somebody from the industry. I said, yeah, of course. I mean, it's not. There's nothing untrue about it.
Mm.
These things, they're very common, and people tell you, these sort of things, that you have to be seen in so and so's party. You have to be invited to so and so's party, and I stay quiet. I do not. I don't react. I don't argue. I don't say. It doesn't matter to me.
Mm.
I'll go if I want to. I'm right now at a position, not that, oh, I'm a position where I can just, call the shots and I can, I have some 20,000, some 20 films ka lineup or something. Very happy, and still there's a very long way to go. But I realized, Kaveri, that if I don't get success on the basis of who I am, or internally, if I'm not happy,
Mm.
it's not worth it. It's
Right.
really not worth. So it's all right. I mean, it's completely what you want to make out of your career. What perspective do you have of the industry? What perspective do you have of yourself? Of what what where do you where do you see yourself? If you want to be, please. I mean, it's fine. Every to each his own. But I'm very clear about myself that I have a certain way of carrying, myself, and I'm comfortable with it.
And Yami, not that you don't speak up for yourself. For instance, when there was this award that you felt that perhaps should have gone to you, you were quite vocal about it. So you did stand up for yourself. And it's not that maybe people didn't appreciate it, but you at least got your point out, right?
Yes, it was not about the award being given to me. It was not about winning. It was just about nomination.
Nomination.
It was, and that also I took a lot of time before expressing. It's only because they were suddenly my timeline was flooded with tweets
Hmm.
because you have, it's not just they're not just your fans because they love you for what you are, but they genuinely there were those people, yeah, who understand performance and who respect your body of work and can see, it's not just one film but also you've reached wherever you are in your own
Yes.
hard way. So I took my time and I didn't immediately, express. I took my time and then I wrote, I expressed something which I feel very strongly. And read it, and whoever was whether or not for or outside the fraternity. So that's about it. It was not for me that people should, even they should say something, or I want this kind of support. No, it was when I express something, I'm doing it entirely um, as an individual, not when I'm doing something, I'm doing entirely as an individual, not with any agenda, or not with anything to create an uproar or anything of that sort.
Right.
I had to say something, and I was very confident and very sure of what I was expressing and how I was expressing. I feel that no matter what you want to say, uh, dignity is also something which should always resonate with your words. So
Right. Yeah.
and I did.
Yeah. Did you feel that you lost out on roles because of that?
Not at all. I think, if anything, it um, people associated uh, me expressing only with respect, if
Right.
I can put it that way.
Right.
And the kind of work that's coming my way, the kind of work that I have finalized, and as I said, which is already announced, and a couple of them are yet to be announced. Not at all. But
Right.
it's exactly what I actually expressed. It's about that moment. You feel it
Right.
was not about winning. It was
Right.
just about, it's just a mark of appreciation and respect for your work, not just for your work, but for literally for the craft.
Right.
And that's about it. And
Yeah.
as much as it's a creative field and it's about perspective, it's almost like, somebody likes a certain film, somebody doesn't like that film, but still, you can weigh things around, you can see things through, and and hence I expressed what I expressed. And I don't think I lost out anything. If at all, I think it gained, it won me a lot of respect, and I think your work speaks for itself. I don't think
Right.
it's now I can say definitely not the awards for sure.
Yeah. But Yami, yet of course sometimes it is heartbreaking. But you've seen, you've had your struggles with that, as we know. But what is the best part of being in the industry currently? And when you look at your body of work, been it's been a huge range from the light and frothy roles to more serious, Badlapur, Kabil. They were substantial roles. And then, of course, the TikTok star, I'll never forget her from Bala. That you're working in Uri, for instance, an ensemble film, but yet to stand out, it's pretty tough. So, when you look at your own craft over the years, how have you seen it evolve? And where do you see yourself right now?
There's another thing. I'll lean on a question someone asked me this morning. that did you do this film Guinea Veg Sunny, for example, thinking that people, it's important to dance also, it's important to show people that you can dance and look glamorous and all those things. I said, of course I'll be lying if if I say that no, it's not. It is, maybe it is to a great extent, and people tell you that that it's important to have such films. But I've done that in the past.
Right.
I've done that in the past, and it's failed me miserably. It just didn't work out for me.
What were those 2 or 3 movies that you signed in the middle, I think?
Yeah, I did. Exactly. I think they didn't do well.
Yeah.
So, and it's fine. I in fact, I just joked. I said, for someone like me, maybe it can work for somebody else, but for me, I understood this a formula to signing a film, or this is something which works in the industry, or this is something which is the current thing, and you should also do it. That formula applying will not work for someone like me. That's a philosophy I made for myself, because I think I signed my first film not thinking of anything else. I just took it as for the script that it was, my role, my director, and what substantial, what am I adding to the film, and that's about it. So even if I want to do a light frothy film where I've danced my heart out in Guinea Veg Sunny, but I took it as for the film it was. I didn't know there's going to be any recreation of any previous song, or I didn't know all those. I knew there were going to be songs and all, but I didn't know that. Or I was like, let's add some, let's add this Purana, that hit song, and make it. No, not at all. I really took it as a script for what it was. So for me, I think right now where I stand with all my experience put together, it was good, bad, nice, not nice, fab. It's made me much more calm, much more comfortable with myself, with my choices, and I'm at a state where if my film does well, great. If it doesn't do well, it's fine. I mean, that's also fine. So for me, something doing well doesn't make me so super related. Of course, you get confidence, your morale gets high, and all those things. And even your previous question when you said about your awards and what it means, to you, did it affect? Of course, every small little thing counts, especially for someone like me. It'll definitely count. Because there's nobody from inside. I have my team, and they work equally as hard as I do, but I don't have within the industry anybody who would be referencing for me, or who will be lobbying or camping or anything. So if something really good comes my way, it'll be my merit or my core team. That's about it. So I'm at a position where if something works really well, great. If something doesn't do well, that's also fine, and just move on. And but give my best to whatever comes. And I want to try out every kind of role. I want to try out every kind of genre. And for me, the only way is to express my desire or my wish through my work. I can say it n number of times, which I used to even before Bala. I want to do this, I want to do that, but no one take it seriously. Whereas in my head, the confusion was that, but I made my debut with a film like Vicky Donor, which was a very substantial role, which was a very performance-oriented part. So why wasn't I considered seriously for something as substantial as that, or something near, at least around that film?
Right.
And why are people so surprised that I can dance? Why no one asked me till now? Why does it take? But that's okay. That's fine. It's taught me so many things now that's made me. I'm glad the person that I am today. It is so important to have a balanced perspective. I know it's the most used word in my interviews, but it's. I believe in it. It's worked for me. And anybody who's in my place, or anybody who's watching, or anybody maybe is in that spot where I was maybe 5 years back, or 4 years back, or I just like to say that just have faith in your talent and potential. Don't fall for any distractions. Don't fall for too many voices which Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, they are around, and they sometimes mean well also for you, but that might not be the best option.
Right.
So,
So you have
so,
to
so
listen to your gut, to your
yes, listen,
instinct.
absolutely, always listen to your instinct. And that's why I joked. I said, rather than doing anything which is like formula based, I wish I would have gone back and gone and learned some Shaolin Kung Fu and maybe learn something and come back.
Yeah.
But again, it's easy to say this right now today.
Right.
But back then you were worried that I'll be with no release.
Yeah.
It's important to be seen. That rotation, on-screen rotation and presence is important.
Right.
So it's so complex that it can so consume you. But that's okay. We've moved on from there. And
Yeah. Yami, just a last question. In the last few days, we've seen this parade of women being summoned to NCB and all. And it seems to be very, directed at the women in the industry. And I wonder, is that intentional? Because I'm sure that they're not the only people who are possibly, alleged drug users or whatever it is. But do you feel that there is an attempt to show the women in the industry their place, and that is not equal to the men?
it's a question that I'm sure it came in many minds,
Yeah.
and of course including mine. And it's very difficult to express your thoughts and put it in words which people take it for what it is and not try and bracket your answer into 10 different meanings,
Yes. Which you
which
have
is
to
so
be very,
sad.
yeah, which you have to
Which
be
is
careful of. Yeah.
absolutely, which is so sad. It
Yeah.
is so sad. If I can break down your question, first of all, obviously anything to do with something as serious as drugs or as serious as the investigation is going on, it's very difficult for anyone else to comment who's sitting and just watching, because you don't know the details. And till the time you don't know, it is not fair on your part to comment on anyone. Secondly, yes, I mean, even this came in my mind as well, that why just women? Is it something which is just I'm thinking, or is it just, I mean how is it possible? I mean why? So this why has definitely, it's come in all our minds. And if it just stops there, if it stops, then how about the rest? I mean, is it then why exactly? Then why just the women? First of all, what I was trying to say from my first point, when it comes to anything serious or anything related to which is a crime or illegal, it's above gender. It's above gender.
Yeah.
I don't think gender obviously has anything to do with it. But yes, the lens through which we everything was we were watching, or the way everything was uh, being presented, it looked very one-sided. It didn't look right. It didn't feel good. I
Yeah.
don't think we're all against drugs.
Yeah.
I myself, I don't smoke, I don't drink. I'm not I have no idea about this side, and we must fight it, not just in our industry but everywhere,
Everywhere. Yeah.
schools, colleges. And if it requires actors, if it requires public figures to come ahead and be a part of this campaign against drugs, all out for them, all out. We support absolutely our country, and I'm sure everybody will join hands. But having said that, the way it happened, you literally, I mean, just to imagine somebody's constantly behind your car, outside your house, just I it's in the past or at any point of time in my life where you felt a section of media is being unfair. Why are they writing these things? Why are they saying such things?
It's happened with you, Yami.
It has. But then
The
for some,
subject of a lot of blind items, but you let
yes,
it pass.
yes. And you probably, how many times are you going to retaliate? And that time,
Yeah.
I don't even think social media was really,
Yeah.
it was so strong as it is today. but it's happened with me, and I was like, where are these things coming from? What do I do? How do you address this? And it's a blind item. You can't say anything. You can't. It's you can't take a legal action. You can't do anything, and it's more than yourself. You feel sorry for your family.
Yeah.
You know, of course, they stand by you, but then somewhere there also they become a part of it.
Right.
And I used to still, after all this, you know, I used to give it a benefit of doubt that, okay, you know, it is sad that if somebody has to make money off somebody's misery, but maybe that is what sensational journalism, or you know, um, you know, that's work for them. They don't wish to be personal to you, but that's work. You know, it's a part of their work. This is, and I used to just, you know, what do you do about it? But again, when I mean, that was different, but at the level of what we saw, I did feel, all of us somewhere felt that that line was very important. Of course, as I said, when it comes to anything to do with investigation or anything, I mean, not commenting on that. We can't. I don't think you and I can't, unless and until you know the facts. I don't know I don't know the facts. So hence, I can't, I have no right to comment. But that dignity is so important. That line of respect is so important.
Yeah.
There's no need to overstep that.
Right.
To prove anything.
Yeah.
So that's what I felt.
But you know, when you talked about making money out of people's misery, you know, that seems to be a national pastime now. So I hope, you know, things do change. And yeah, and I hope work that you do, movies like Ginny with Sunny, all the other work that you're doing brings a cheer and a calm back to people's lives. And I think a lot of it also has to do with this very peculiar time that we're living through. I think it's so abnormal that we're all behaving abnormally. Really, kudos to you for, you know, being so graceful and dignified, and also being very strong through it all. So well done, you, Yami.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you, Kaveri.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for talking to us, and all the very best for all.
Always pleasure talking to you, Kaveri. Thank you.
Thank you. And all the very best to you for all your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.